Hello, welcome back to my channel everyone. Today I'm gonna just do a quick demonstration of a very interesting mod, Ultracube by Grand Seiken. Not gonna go over everything, but I'm just gonna go through the path of the cube at a very end game stage. Be warned, there's going to be lots of spoilers. I am 3% from finishing the game. The end game is just this one research that you have to complete. And I guess this just a little bit about this mod is that everything revolves around this ultra dense utility cube, whether it be generation of quite a few resources, smelting of another resource, mining of a uh, later game resource, and even some of the other processes are using the cube. It's both quite simple in that there's not a lot of natural resources. There's like the basic matter unit, rare metal that you do have to mine, and then gelatinous tar, which is generated from the matter cube itself, and steam, and also it takes in a little bit of sand. Stone is the only resource. Well, no, stone is one of the resources that you get that doesn't require the cube to process, and then also uranium does not require the cube to process. But uranium isn't really involved in much things other than to make uranium power. And otherwise, the cube is very integral. And then there's that deep core metal or deep core mineral that I was talking about before. And then the very last thing is uh, it's called the antimatter unit that's generated by breaking off the cube and then reassembling it in what's called a Helvetica scenario. Interesting name. This comes from an episode of a show called Look Around You, which is like a joke science show. Very funny. And actually that's where a lot of the jokes in this mod comes from. Like intelligent calcium. And yeah, the mod doesn't take itself very seriously. There's a lot of funny little things like lubricant being renamed elbow grease, um, oil being renamed gelatinous tar, and then gas being renamed unstable gas. The basic matter unit is basically just plastic, and what? Yeah, that's kind of the gist of it, and it makes use of a lot of the Factorio 2 graphics. Though the buildings don't do anything the same, it's graphics only. It's not a Factorio 2 extension. But that's why a lot of things do look a lot different than vanilla. This cube will make your character a little bit slower when you're carrying it. It's both a crafting material and a fuel. You can use it to boil water and produce steam. So yeah, I'm just gonna take you along the path of a cube going through my base. So let's just start here. At first, it'll go through a few of the basic matter generation recipes. Throughout my base, you'll see these extremely long-handed inserters. It'll make the cube travel a little bit faster than belts or even the purple belts. These machines make the first tech card. It's the one that's generated out of nothing, just the cube itself. And now it's melting the rare metals. Rare earth metal smelting has 3 different recipes, one using just rare earth metal with 50% return, and then one that where you crush the rare earth metal first, outputs some rare earth metal, and outputs refined rare earth metal, and then also calcium, and also a bit of stone. This recipe actually gives you less rare earth metal per ore, but it allows the machine to handle 1,000 at a time. And that's the one thing you'll notice about this mod is that a lot of recipes have huge volumes. Your goal is more to figure out how to build up a adequate buffer because the cube will not be able to run multiple machines at a time. The cube will only run one machine at a time. I have it inserted here where it loops the cube back so that all these smelters, ultra dense furnaces run a second time. We can go look at some other things. After it comes back down, this inserter will not work again. It works on a 3-minute timer, and it'll come back down, and then it'll go down here where there are two ultra dense furnaces that take in some basic matter unit and mix it into this matter replication gel. So this would make generating matter a lot more efficient, because the starting recipe will only give you 100 matter at a time, whereas this gives you 1,000. I have triggers here where once the cube is used up and in its dormant state, if there is not enough of this cerebral substrate, it will take it and then go through, take the cube in its dormant state over here, where it'll be used to produce some cerebral substrate. Let's see if the cube is coming. It should be coming anytime soon. Yep, it's coming now. There's an inserter that loops the same two machines again if there's not enough of this matter replication gel, if it's less than 18K. So there's a bit of decisions in terms of whether you build more machines or you just somehow make the cube loop again. Like here, it's just looping the same machine over and over until it makes enough, because what's the point of making more machines? That being said, the machines do need to empty out its output before it will work again. So there's a bit of figuring out that you have to do for that. That's finally done. I'll come back up. There is one inserter here that will loop the cube through this small segment so that it'll do the same these machines and then these tech card machines again, and it'll actually go down here once more too. But then there's an inserter here that once this inserter activates, this inserter will activate, and it'll skip the furnaces. Where's the cube? If you ever lose the cube, you can also use the cube cam and control K, and then you can see where the cube is. So then now I'll do the gelatinous tar. See, there's another inserter here that will loop these two furnaces if there's not enough gelatinous tar. This is the lower tech gelatinous tar generation recipe that takes in just some wood and sand. There's a better recipe later on that uses coal, but you don't get a lot of coal. Coal is a byproduct of processing deep core minerals, so you do still need to use the less efficient recipe a little bit. These are for fuel refineries that make the fuel. So before you're able to do this and make fuel to make power, and you see these boilers are oriented differently than in vanilla. Before you do that, you have to actually boil the cube, which is a bit annoying because then you have to set a trigger to when the cube is actually, you don't want the output to be full, otherwise the cube will be stuck inside a boiler. Here's a machine that takes in the cerebral substrate and also ethanol and makes joy and despair in fluids. After that's done, then it goes into this dimensional folding engine where it breaks down the cube into 64 phantom cubes. In my 64 phantom cube area, these are machines that run a recipe to generate matter, a different recipe, but it's basically just matter replication gel into matter. It's a little bit more efficient than the other machines over at this side. There's another different recipe to generate the basic tech cards and some n-dimensional widgets. This machine generates another material called ghost crystals. just kind of a evil material, I guess. And then it takes some evil of the evil material and turns it into ectoplasm. Here is a different recipe for generating cerebral substrate that takes in bottled joy. The ectoplasm takes in the ghost material and bottled despair. If so, these inserters will put the phantom cube into the cerebral substrate machine, but if it's full, then it'll just use up a bottle euphoria to recharge the cube instead of using the recovery bay to recharge the cube. Apparently this is a little bit more power efficient. Once it produces enough of this basic matter unit and enough of the ghost crystals and enough ectoplasm, the outfolding engine inserters will activate, and then it'll fold all 64 of the phantom cubes back into one single cube. I don't have it set up very well. Sometimes all three things need to satisfy, but sometimes while you're waiting for one thing to or while everything is satisfied, as the cubes are looping around the belt and being picked up, maybe one of the things will become unsatisfied, but you'll only have like 2 or 3 of the cubes left on the belt, and it just gets stuck forever, and then have to manually pick it up again. Let's see if this time it will do that or not. After it does that, it'll come down here, and I'll talk about the trains in a little bit, but it'll run through 2 of the better gelatinous tar recipes, and then also make the furnace that makes deep solution. Deep solution is a precursor to the crystals, deep crystals, which is used in advanced crafting. This is another dimensional folding engine that's doing something kind of unique but also annoying. So with the ectoplasm and batteries, you can make a thing called a haunted fuel cell. It's basically evil batteries that these things called the Stygian lab will run to produce power. And the output, once you burn the batteries, if you ever use them, these batteries, and also when you craft one of the tech cards, it'll produce a byproduct called residual tendrils, and when you build up enough of them, all you can do is throw a bunch of them into the folding engine, and then it'll get rid of a proportion of it. These tendrils serve no other purpose other than as like a complete waste product. So now it's collected 58 of the phantom cubes while the rest of them are trudging along. Meanwhile, we've ran out of the ghost crystals in this buffer, so now it will just stop picking it up and it's stuck, so I have to manually pick up the cubes. That is all of them. Oh yeah, you see some of these inserters are inserting sideways. It's because of the Bob's inserter mod. It does make it a little bit easier to squeeze in stuff in this mod. Oh, what these 2 furnaces are doing is a different rare earth metal smelting recipe where it takes in some explosives, but it takes in 6,000 raw material and gives you 2,000 of the finish plates. It's nowhere near as efficient, but resources are easy to come by on this map, and this is a little faster in terms of using the cube than the other recipe. So you have to balance the two of them when you use them, because you do need calcium. You'll build up a lot of calcium early game, but you need a lot of it towards the end game. Just a warning. So don't. I know some people create crazy contraptions to destroy the calcium. Don't. And also generating nuclear fuel cells also requires the cube. These inserters basically loop this one single fuel refinery until it's done, I think 6 times, until there's 60, and then it'll go into the next machine. There's a different recipe that takes in some of the radioactive waste byproduct. And now it's doing these cyclotron machines. A unique machine that generates these green and purple conduits. One's called Fermi and one's called Boson. Don't think it means anything. This machine is unique in that it'll charge. It has like a charged core. If this core is not charged, the machine will run very, very slow. It's basically got its own internal battery. And now finally you can see how the boiler works. And this dimensional folding engine makes these singularity calibration data. It'll take in these conduits, but at not a 1-to-1 ratio. So I think it's coming back now. Over here there's the antimatter setup. I'll show you that at the end, but I think the cube is coming back around. It's currently looping to do these 2 furnaces, making the gelatinous tar enough times, I think 2 or even 3 times in a row, such that it'll make a bunch of gelatinous tar all at once. It's necessary. You go through a lot of gelatinous tar. The gelatinous tar is what's broken down into refined tar and essential oils, and then that's made into unstable gas, which is a useful product, and also elbow grease, and also used to process into sulfur. Where is the cube? Okay, it's still around here. So then now it's coming and it'll be inserted into the trains, which will zoom away extremely fast. And it is coming down to the mines for the deep core material. You see the cube will come out and then go into the no, because there is enough buffer, but otherwise it does. The mine will not work without the cube, so that's why building a train that moves the cube is absolutely necessary, because you have to transport the cube there, and the belt will be way too slow because you saw how far away it was. Let's just wait till the train fills up. And when the cube is on the train, the mod is made so that the trains have an extremely, I think, a 1000% plus acceleration bonus. And now it'll come out. There's enough in this box so then the train will not go. And I think that's it. It'll come back around to the beginning. Let me just show you how the Helvetica scenario works to produce antimatter. Antimatter and let's see. Yes, so antimatter and 1 singularity data and 1 quantum calibration data is what's necessary to make the very final tech card, the complete annihilation tech. So the cube comes into this forbidden ziggurat along with a bottle of joy, and then it gets totally broken up into the core of it, which is an iron gear wheel, and then the ultradense debris plus the basic antimatter unit. the debris will be further ground down into what I believe is called particulate. Some of the particulate needs to be made into ultra dense concentrate, which it needs to go through a process to make some ultra dense sap. It needs to get grounded up again, and then some particulate and also some concentrate plus sap will be made into ultra dense matter unit, and then that gets further assembled into the ultra dense composite, and 64 of those get folded back in the dimensional folding engine into the ultra dense utility cube. Another quite interesting thing that this mod has is these machines making the quantum calibration data. So what it does is it takes these qubits. Qubits are just produced by a qubit shell going. It goes through an empty qubit shell goes through this machine one time, and then it becomes a up qubit, and then it goes through another. It goes same machine again, and it becomes a down qubit, and so forth. There's 6 of them, and then this quantum decoder will take in 2 at a time. The combination of the qubits is completely random. You need some fancy calculation to figure out what the next combo is. If you don't get the right combo, it'll just output a shell again, or later on it'll recycle some of the qubits. So what you need to do is put all the qubits in on a balancer, and then you need to scramble it. So some people have very complicated scrambling systems. I don't. I just have this one belt wheel thing that you insert 20 of the qubits onto the belt, because I believe it's about 22 of them to saturate, and once it's saturated it won't spin, and it'll just keep spinning, and then it'll get taken out at a random in random order, and then that seems to work. And then these inserters put it into this box one at a time. Stack size 1, and it'll only put into the box one at a time. I think that's all that this mod has to offer, and then there are these weird mystery furnaces that take in the Evo battery and also some material, and then it'll give you like a surprise outcome, usually a downgrade, but there are some upgrades to find out. So it's kind of fun to find out what the result of using the mystery furnace is. I think that's it. The mod is very interesting. I've had a lot of fun. There are some weird things like this, these forest trees that the recipe is to make potatoes, and then the potatoes get ground down into mash, and then further gets made into ethanol. It's just kind of weird that the potatoes only use one. That's about my only gripe with the mod. But yeah, just fun figuring out how to balance some extremely voluminous recipes and maximizing the cube time, which I don't think I've done very well. So yeah, I hope you have fun with this mod. Hope you enjoyed this video. Go and check out the Discord. If you like, I'll put a link in the description. Thanks. Bye now.